Hi guys, Forgotten Wolf here, and this is What If Ned Stark Wasn't Executed. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want more videos like this at 100 subscribers, I will do a 1 hour video on the FNAF Timeline at 25k views, which we are really close to. I will do a video on every single Nintendo game that is being made right now. And at 500 likes, I'll do a video on Greyjoy's Rebellion. And with that out of the way, let's begin. In Season 1, at the end of Season 1, Ned Stark was imprisoned and later executed by Joffrey Baratheon. But in this timeline, in Season 1 at 298 AC, instead of executing Ned Stark, King Joffrey Baratheon decides to listen to his family and send Ned Stark to the wall. This leaves two potential timelines. The first is where Ned Stark is killed by Jack and Nagar, who was heavily rumored throughout the show to be hired by Littlefinger, or Ned Stark makes it up the King's Road and under the command of Yarn, since Yarn is never killed. I'm gonna go with the second timeline, as I need a video. This also means Ned and Arya travel up the King's Road for a little bit, meaning Arya is never a faceless assassin. And the last change for season 1 is a huge one. Ned will get the North to support for Stannis, since there's a good chance he'll end up seeing Robb Stark. And yeah, and we also get to see Arya reunite with Ned. However, there's a good chance with Robb, but there's a good chance Arya carries on to Winterfell. In Season 2 or 299 AC, Robb Stark will bend the knee to Stannis Baratheon. Stannis will ensure two things. The first being Robb will uphold his marriage pact and never marry Talisa. And the second, the young Greyjoy is never released and is kept with the Starks, or possibly with Stannis himself. Around the middle of 299 AC, Brienne of Tarth will be killed without Catelyn to help her escape, and Arya Stark will get back to Winterfell, reuniting with Bran and Rickon, and the Night's Watch will stop at Winterfell before continuing to the Wall. Robb Stark will also take Harrenhal a lot sooner, because this gives Stannis another army to siege King's Landing along with his own. Ned Stark will arrive at the Wall, but Jon Snow will not be there, as he is with the wildlings beyond the Wall. Going back down south for a bit, with the help of the Stark army, Stannis Baratheon will win the Battle of Blackwater Bay, killing Joffrey, Tommen, Cersei, Tyrion, Tywin, and Loras Tyrell. Marcel will be killed in Doranstale. After the Battle of Blackwater, Jaime Lannister will be killed by Rickard Karstark. We also get to see Robb reunite with Sansa Stark. In Season 3 or 300 AC, Robb Stark will, like Ned, go south before going north. I think the Stannis will command Robb to take Highgarden from the Tyrell, since they supported the Targaryens in Robert's Rebellion, and they supported Renly initially in the War of the Five Kings. And Stannis will end up executing the Tyrells and make House Florent lords of Highgarden wardens of the Reach, because his wife is from House Florent. Stannis also makes Davos of House Seaworth his hand and Lord of Casterly Rock, as the Lannisters are gone. Following Stannis' coronation, Shireen Baratheon will probably take up residence at Storm's End. Robb Stark will go to the Twins again, this time marrying Rosalind Frey instead of being Edmure Tully. Wow, we are flying through this. In Season 4, 301 AC, Robb Stark will stop the siege of the Wall by the Wildlings, and in the following Lord Commander election, it will be Ned Stark instead of Jon Snow who becomes Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. While focusing on the Wall here, I might as well mention that I predict Ned will tell both Jon and Robb of Jon's true parentage, since he promised to tell Jon, and Robb is literally right there, so it makes sense. Yeah, and however, this will not mean Jon will be heir to the throne, because he's kind of given it up since he's now a member of the Night's Watch. Getting back to Winterfell, we get to see Robb reunite with Bran and Rickon. For me, I wish that would have happened. Robb loved Bran, clearly. He very much loved him. But back in the south, Varys and Littlefinger are removed from the small council, as Stannis does not trust him. Varys goes east towards Daenerys Targaryen, and Littlefinger goes to the Vale to marry Lysa Arryn. However, Lysa Arryn won't be murdered since Sansa is not there. Moving on to Season 5, not much will happen. This is a bit of a boring season. Stannis will have defeated all his enemies except one, the Greyjoys. Stannis will take the Iron Islands and kill Balon Greyjoy and make Theon Greyjoy the Lord of Iron Islands. Stannis wanted to do that during Greyjoy's rebellion, but Robert ignored him. And at the end of the season, Ned, who is fully aware that White Walkers will like Jon, let the wildlings south the wall and make them man the wall. However, Ned won't be murdered like Jon was because, well, the Starks are still in Winterfell. In Season 6, like Season 5, not a lot happens. I predict in this season Arya Stark will be married to a Frey's son. Beyond that, we've entered a peace era in Westeros. However, up north they're beginning to make plans for what happens during the upcoming war between Stannis and Daenerys. They also make preparations against the White Walkers with what Ned Stark told Robb and Jon. I think we can assume that Jon knows that the Starks will support Daenerys because they are pretty honorable and, well, yeah, although Robb bent the knee to Stannis, the Starks also bent the knee to the Targaryens, and Jon would have been heir, but he is a member of the Night's Watch, which makes Daenerys the heir. But getting to the Vale for a second, it is a reasonable guess that with Lysa and wedded to Littlefinger and Lysa being alive for a lot longer, I think you can assume that Lysa Arryn would have given Littlefinger a son. So now Littlefinger will definitely kill Robb and Arryn, making Littlefinger House Baelish Lords of the Vale to advance his claim to the Iron Throne. In Season 7, we finally see more action, thank God. Dany arrives in Westeros, however, with no Tyrion. Daenerys has no allies because all the great houses are loyal to Stannis. Daenerys does get one ally since Littlefinger does not like Stannis. In exchange for a seat on her small council, the Vale joins Daenerys' army. Dany also will summon Robb to bend the knee, and I think it's a real 50-50 whether he bends the knee. At first, I don't think he'll bend the knee, but I'll get to that later. Meanwhile, Stannis gets an ally in Dorne by offering Shireen Baratheon to one of the Dorne's princes to secure himself more allies. At the end of the season, a council is made where Jon Snow shows off the White Walkers. Given the fact that Jon and Daenerys are family, I think the season finale will show us Robb bending the knee to Daenerys instead of Jon and Dany doing it in the bedroom. Daenerys also gets the Riverland support along with the Iron Islands, since I don't think Theon will support someone who murdered his father. In Season 8, the humans defeat the White Walkers, but like in most what-ifs I make, Bran Stark dies. I also think Ned will sacrifice himself for the greater good. I do think that Daenerys still takes King's Landing, but since Melisandre isn't executed along with other factors, I think that Dany will not burn down King's Landing. Because there's a bunch of factors, but I doubt Jon will tell her of his true parentage, and if Melisandre isn't killed, that's two major factors that caused her burning King's Landing. I do think Gendry will become the Lord of Storm's End. While we don't get an independent North, I think it is very reasonable to assume that the next part of a political alliance, Robert promised Ned to marry a daughter to a son, and Sansa would definitely need to marry to secure the North more allies in the future. So yeah, Sansa's married to Gendry, making an alliance between the Riverlands, North, and Stormlands. In a case there is a need for a Robert's Rebellion too. And as for the new lords of Castle Rock, again, since Daenerys will kill Davos, the only person I could see is maybe a Frey Lannister son/daughter, but I have no idea. Same with the Reach if the Florents are removed. So in conclusion, Stannis takes the Iron Throne, although temporarily, and Daenerys ultimately sets the Iron Throne while the Starks endure less suffering. Now, if you're wondering about who the Hand of the Queen will be, it would either be Robb Stark or Melisandre. I have no idea. But this is a very cool what if. I very much enjoyed this. And until next time, bye!